Well, howdy there, folks, and welcome into this video here today. Hope you guys enjoy this. As always, hope you're having a great day out there. So I'm going to show you an entire spreadsheet of data around Tesla stock, okay? And basically, the spreadsheet I'm about to take you through is done by one of the coaches in the private group. And this is a gentleman that I have a tremendous amount of respect for, okay? Now, he is a little more private, so I'm not going to say his name or show his face in this video, but I did get permission from him to basically show you his entire spreadsheet. He has, a good portion of it. He actually has even more than this. A good portion of his spreadsheet he has for Tesla. We're going to look at how many cars he believes Tesla is going to be moving in each year all the way up until 2030, okay? And I'm going to share with you my perspective on this. How realistic do I think it is? Do I think his numbers are off, in my opinion? Those sorts of things. So yeah, I hope you guys really enjoy this. We're going to talk about stock price. He even has a stock price for Tesla going on potentially all the way up to $18,000 in the year 2030. And the interesting thing is he actually believes his numbers are conservative. That's the interesting part. These numbers actually aren't, we're going to look at here today, aren't including any robo-taxi business or other future businesses that Tesla could get into, and not even really the energy business. This is pretty much just Tesla cars. Just the car business, which is very interesting. And he truly believes that his numbers are conservative, okay? And so, this is going to be a pretty interesting video. I know a lot of people are obviously wondering, is Tesla a buy? Should they buy the stock? Should they not buy the stock? I know, different YouTubers on the platform, there's several of them actually, are heavily invested in Tesla. And when I say heavily invested, I'm not talking like me where I might have, $500,000 in the stock or so. I'm talking about some of these individuals have 90% plus of their net worth in Tesla stock. And it's not just one person. There's a lot of them. So, I think this is an important subject to really dive into deep, and let's really talk about this. And as somebody that, has been supporting Tesla stock for quite a while, not since the earliest days, but I've been on this train for a while now. I thought it would be important for me to kind of share my opinion. So hope you guys enjoy this video as always. Hope you get a ton of value out of it. If you don't mind, smash the thumbs up. That helps our YouTube channel out in a massive way. If you want to subscribe, you can do so, and put on the notifications if you want to, okay? First off, before we get into this, guys, the once-a-year sale and Become a Master of Stock Market is going on right now. It takes $250 off. There'll be the pinned comment down there. And, of course, it goes into everything I look for in stocks. This is not access to the private group, just so you understand. We never do deals in the private group or anything like that. Way too much demand for that. But this is, a once-a-year sale. We'll bring this back out in maybe March of 2022. And if you want to take advantage of that course deal before it ends, it's going to be pinned comment down there. Okay, guys? Alrighty, so let's dive into these numbers here, okay? So, basically, what we're looking at here is, current market cap, or when he sent this over, essentially how many shares outstanding, the amount of auto units, right? And he basically has them growing about 50% CAGR here. Profit per vehicle over time. He ran those numbers for what he believes in 2025 and 2030. We have current overall gross margin, where he thinks it's going over time. We have auto profit, total profit for the company. We have EPS, and keep in mind, he's not pricing in, a lot of other potential future businesses like, even Tesla Insurance and robo-taxi networks and things like that, okay? Where he thinks EPS is going over time, and stock prices based upon if Tesla was to have a 20 PE, 75 PE, 150 PE, or a 200 PE, okay? And his final projections there, okay? So let's start diving into these right from the top. Shares outstanding, that can move around a bit, right? I mean, you never really know. What if the company issued a bunch more shares out there? Obviously, over time, some key players at the company should get more shares, executives, things like that, right? But then also there's the possibility that the company could buy back shares over time. So, I mean, shares outstanding, I can't really say anything much about this. This is one of the hardest numbers to judge because you just don't know what Tesla's going to do over time. You don't know what Elon Musk is going to do. Would Elon Musk ever do a big share buyback in the future? Would Elon Musk dilute shareholder value a bunch if they really needed to raise all of a sudden 20, 40, 60, 80 billion dollars or something like that? We don't know, okay? So this number I'm not going to even try to debate on, okay? Where things start getting interesting is around auto units, all right? So basically, this coach here, he has the company doing around 800,000 units for 2021. 800,000 units. I can see that number being around the number, okay? I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just a little bit aggressive, but not that aggressive. I mean, this year you do have Model S plaids coming out, right? You do have, obviously, Model Y getting ramped up in a major way, right? You have continued expansion of Model 3. You have, obviously, Tesla is going to continue to grow rapidly, likely in China, right? And including the United States. And you have electric vehicles, just to be quite frank, becoming more relevant than they've ever been. And that's going to continue over the years, right? So for me to look at this number and say 800,000 units, okay, I can go with that, okay? We can go there, all right? Now, 2022, 1.2 million units, all right? This is another one of those numbers where I'm like, okay, it's a possibility. Is it going to be easy for them to hit, 1.2 million units, cars sold in 2022? I don't think it's going to be easy. I mean, I think you're going to talk about massive manufacturing, but keep in mind, 2022, the Gigafactory in Europe should be up and running pretty much the full year, right? Should be. Cybertruck, should be a big year for that. So, I mean, when I see that number, I say, okay, 1.2 mil. Basically, I'm kind of in agreement all the way through about 2025. I mean, I could see this being a year where they sell anywhere from 3 mil to 4 mil units, okay? Now, in regards to units where I have some real question marks as somebody that's a Tesla bull, but maybe not as bullish as this gentleman, okay, is when we start to look out through these years, okay? So the massive whopping number here, 2030. 2030, this gentleman has them moving, basically selling, in that 1 year alone, over 30 million vehicles, okay? Keep in mind, in the year 2030, as autonomous taxi networks take off, right? Likely the demand for cars is going to go down and down. It's not like down a straight line, but it's like, keep in mind, a lot of people don't even use their car most of the time. So a lot of people aren't even going to want to own a car, essentially, because an autonomous taxi network is probably going to be far cheaper and far more convenient for somebody to just do that and go that route rather than, essentially owning a car, right? And there's always going to be a good amount of people that want to own a car, right? And Tesla has a great opportunity to be one of the biggest players when it comes to autonomous taxi networks. Now, 30 million, do I think they're going to move 30 million cars in 2030? I don't. I don't think they're going to quite do that number. I believe in the year 2030, Tesla could be somewhere between this number, in best case scenario, that number, okay? I think they can be somewhere between about 10 million units and maybe up to 20 million. Keep in mind, in the entire world in year 2030, I mean, there will probably only be maybe 60 or 70 million cars sold, right? Because keep in mind, the number is going to keep dropping likely over time. And so, I mean, this is saying basically they're going to have about 50% of the potential world market share for cars sold. I don't think Tesla's going to be that dominant. I think they're going to be dominant. And keep in mind, if you're moving 10 to 20 million in a market that, let's say, 60 million or maybe 70 million, that's incredible. That's just downright incredible. But yeah, pushing over 30 million, man, it's hard for me to get there. I would love it if Tesla does get there. Let me be very clear about that. But that's a stretch for me to imagine them moving 30 million cars in the year 2030. And, keep in mind, I mean, Tesla last year sold, 500,000 cars. So, I mean, 500,000 to, let's say they do 10 million cars in 2030, that's nothing short of unreal, amazing, unbelievable. But my gosh, it's a stretch for me to imagine them moving 30 million cars in 1 year, in the year 2030. That's I would put that as probably a 2% or less than a 2% probability, in my personal opinion. That's too bullish for me. I'm thinking somewhere between this number and this number in the year 2030. And by the way, I would love to hear your guys' opinion on that. Do you think Tesla, based upon your projections and things like that, will move 30 million cars in 2030? I'd love to hear from you guys, okay? Now, profit per car. This is a moving part that's very difficult, okay? Because keep in mind, as Tesla's business scales over time, they're likely going to bring down the cost of producing whatever model they're producing, whether it be Model 3, Model Y, Cybertruck, potential cars that aren't even on the, aren't even shown to the public yet, right? Remember, there's talk about Tesla coming out with a $25,000 car. So over time, Tesla should be able to drop the cost of production of a Tesla. But at the same time, Elon Musk is a wild card, right? So Elon Musk, a lot of times, when they drop, whatever amount of, cost off the car, they just end up kind of giving that back to consumers for the most part. Sometimes it depends. But we've seen it. They'll drop price on Model 3. They'll drop price on Model Y. And just to kind of take market share and get the numbers up even bigger. It seems like Elon Musk is really in a market share battle with ICE vehicles, right? And really wants to take market share. So, this is a real wild card. The profit per car is a real wild card. So around 3K, right? And kind of an asterisk around that. So, this coach believes at 3,500, they're going to start doing profit per car in the year 2025, 4,000 profit per car in 2030. I don't have a strong opinion on this, to be honest. I have a much stronger opinion on this number than this number. Because like I said, there's so many wild cards in it. What I can tell you is I truly believe electric vehicles are going to be much more profitable long term than actually traditional ICE cars. I really do. I think they're going to actually be much more profitable. But the big question is, does Elon just keep lowering price just to continue to take market share? So that's a big question there, okay? Overall gross margin, 25%, going to 35%. I can see that. I'm not going to debate that, okay? Auto profit, $130 billion auto profit. Total profit, $162 billion. Now, when it comes to profit numbers, the big question marks, okay? The big question marks when it comes to auto profit and total profit for the company is, I think the autonomous taxi network, there's no doubt in my mind Tesla has a chance to be the number one player in this market, right? But how profitable is that business really going to be? And so, we've seen Cathie Wood and ARK Invest, talk about that business, and they believe it's going to be extremely profitable for Tesla. And it could be. But we've never seen this business model actually play out in the real world, right? We've got to see it. We've got to actually see how Tesla executes on this, how they roll this out, and what the competitive landscape is like. In the autonomous taxi network world, is it come down to just whoever's the cheapest is going to, like, imagine there's 5 people competing in the autonomous taxi network, which might be a much stretch. Maybe imagine there's 3 players, okay? Who's to not say that I'm going to, we're going to, let's say it's the year, 2028, okay? And we're going to look for, a ride, autonomous taxi network ride, right? And who's not to say we just pull up the 3 apps we have a chance for, and we just go with whichever one's the cheapest, or 5 apps, or whatever it is, right? And we look and we say, okay, this, let's see how much the ride costs from this one, this one, this one, this one. Oh, this one's the cheapest. That's something that obviously could hurt profitability. Keep in mind, in these battles, in the short term, you lose a lot of money. Ask Uber about that, right? And ask Lyft about that, and ask anybody that's competed in rideshare. The main issue is, these guys all want a lot of market share, right? Uber wants a certain kind of market share for them long term. Lyft wants a certain kind of market share, right? And Uber and Lyft are going to just finally start reaching some profitability, because I think they've kind of given up on the battle of market share, and they're like, okay, you got that, I got this, let's start going up on price. Obviously, they can't, actually do that, right? But that's kind of the way things play out, right? And over time, the price gets more and more expensive. And so in the autonomous taxi network, I feel that is going to be a money loser, and a big money loser for Tesla in the short term. It's hard for me to imagine Tesla right out of the gate, and when I mean right out of the gate, I mean in the first 3 years, is making money. I think the losses will be substantial, and maybe the biggest maybe in year 3 to 5. And then over time, the losses will begin to get less and less and less, and then it'll be a profit machine. I see the auto business as definitely being a profit machine as it continues to scale, especially once it gets over 1 million units a year and we start getting to 4 million, 6 million, 8 million. I think that's going to be a real big profit driver for the company and a real big net income driver. But man, the autonomous taxi network, that is something I really worry about profit-wise in the short term. I feel like it's going to be market share battles. I could picture Tesla losing money for years on that just to capture more market share. And Elon Musk really wants to go after the biggest prize, right? He's going to want the big market share likely for Tesla. I mean, if Tesla has an opportunity to have 60% of the market share or 10% of the market share long term, of course they're going to want 60%, right? And so sometimes you have to just be the cheapest and the most reliable. And, sometimes those things are things that lose you money in the short term over a few year span. So that's a real wild card when it comes to net income for this company, earnings per share for this company, is I think the autonomous taxi network. I can picture, the car insurance business being very profitable for the company. And I can picture this company getting into many more product lines over the future years that will be very profitable. But autonomous taxi network, I think, could be a big drag on the business for, let's say in here, and maybe start picking up here as far as getting to that profitability and moving on, okay? So EPS is a real wild card for this company. Now, as far as share price goes, so first off, 162 billion total profit, okay. EPS of $119 per share in 2030. Right now, the stock trades at about 600-ish, right? Maybe 700. So I think it trades maybe at 700. So basically, we're at a 6 or somewhere around a 6, 2030 PE on the stock, right? So, if you're valuing off of 2030, it obviously looks cheap. But the question is, can they get to this type of number? Maybe they can get to a lot bigger number than that, right? That's also something to keep in mind. That has to play out. Now, stock price. So at a 20 PE, right, that would put the stock price at $2,389 in the year 2030. Now, keep in mind, let's look at the 2025 numbers first. I think this is pretty interesting because, he has them doing total profit of $18 billion in 2025. And this is much more easy to see 2025 than 2030 because 2030 is just, that's a long time away, right? A lot can play out. I mean, you're talking this long of a time. I mean, shoot, we go back 9-10 years ago. No one was even taking Tesla serious. Like, Tesla? Who is that? Like, what? And now, everybody all of a sudden is going to try to make electric vehicles, right? So, I mean, a lot can change very quickly, right, in a 9-10 year span. I think these numbers are much more easy to see. $14 EPS for the company in 2025. I think that number's low. I think the number's really low. I think they're going to do much better than that. Let's just put it that way. But then we get into the whole thing. Autonomous taxi network probably launches somewhere between 2022 and 2024 in a major way. And what if they're losing a ton of money? And so that's what if it wasn't for autonomous taxi network, I would feel like EPS would be higher than this. I'll be honest. But the autonomous taxi network, I feel like it's going to be a drag on the business short term to maybe make lots of profits long term. But that's why it's hard for me to say with conviction for sure they'll be above $14 EPS, okay? Now, at a 20 PE, that would put the stock at $287, which is obviously considerably lower than the stock price is today, right? It's like over half as cheap, right? But keep in mind, Tesla's going to trade at a premium for probably a long time, if not forever. A 20 PE is probably a little silly for Tesla, right? You're talking about one of the biggest growth companies out there as far as, big companies that are growing rapidly, right? So I don't think it makes sense to be in there. A 75 PE, that puts a stock at about $1,000 in the year 2025. I think a 75 might even be a little bit cheap as well. I think Tesla in 2025 would probably make more sense to value Tesla at 100 to 100 and maybe 25 PE, assuming they still got very, very nice growth, which obviously I'm assuming they will. So this might be a little low, but this would be the stock price of around $1,100 or so, maybe a little under $1,100. And if I had to guess, what is Tesla's stock price going to be in the year 2025, assuming they don't split the stock or anything like that? I would say Tesla's stock price in 2025 will probably be between $1,000 and $1,800, somewhere in there, right? In the year 2025. That's where I would likely say Tesla will be. So, we're somewhere in the ballpark. Maybe I'm just a little more bullish than this. Now, if we're going to put the stock price at a 150 PE in that year, then the stock price is at about 2,100 or so. And I think a lot of people have price targets on Tesla that are bullish on Tesla, that is, of around $1,500 to $2,500 in the year 2025. So it's possible. It's maybe a little more. This is more bullish than I am. I'm maybe slightly more bullish than this, but less bullish than this, essentially. Okay, so median stock price $2,000. Our coach has here. That's what he has, okay? But year 2030, this is where the numbers get crazy, right? Okay, so at a PE of 20, assuming they're doing $119 EPS there, right? That's a stock price of $2,000, almost $400. At a PE of 75, the company would be trading at around $9,000 or so. Now, keep in mind, when it comes to Tesla, you know, I know you could say, well, a lot of the growth will probably be done with Tesla as far as the massive growth, right? And that could be fair, but keep in mind, great companies, if they keep the pedal to the metal, they can keep growing. They keep coming out with innovative products and services, right? And so, I mean, look at Amazon. Amazon's always traded rich. I mean, Amazon's traded rich for the last 20 plus years, right? But Amazon continues to be a growth beast. Amazon will grow this upcoming year probably 25 to 35% top line. I mean, that's crazy. I mean, I would say at least 20% top line. And I mean, this company just continues to be a growth beast when we're talking about Amazon. I mean, it's a game changer, right? Who's to say Tesla's not going to be that company, right? So, yeah, $9,000 stock price. I would love that. Let me be honest. I would love that. That's probably a little more bullish than me, to be honest. Now, this number is definitely over my head here, okay? Stock price of basically $18,000 a share. That stock price there, looking at $18,000 a share, for me, too bullish. Too bullish, okay? I doubt, people are going to be valuing Tesla at, 150 PE in the year 2030, and they can, put up these type of numbers, but I hope I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong, because that means, oh my gosh, I made, all I'll be saying is, why didn't they buy even more stock than that, okay? So, I mean, I would say 2030, I'm probably somewhere between these numbers. I'm probably somewhere between there. There's no doubt in my mind that Tesla's going to likely be certainly a $1 trillion company in the year 2030, as long as they keep the pedal to the metal, but a multi-trillion-dollar company. It's just about what new products and services do they get into over time? And are those drags on the business, or do those help out the business in the short term? And obviously you got Elon Musk in charge, and, let's hope Elon Musk is still, stays hungry and wants to keep going after it for all these different years, right? Because, I mean, that's something, Amazon's had. Amazon's had Bezos at the helm of that company for 25 years now or so. Going hard, keeping the company moving and innovating and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, this is pretty darn exciting. And when I see, numbers like this from somebody I obviously have a lot of respect for, I got to look at it and I got to say, maybe I'm not bullish enough on Tesla. Maybe I need to relook into my numbers and consider some things, because although the stock price has gone up so much since I bought in, right? I mean, on a split adjusted basis, my shares were acquired for, I think, $45 on average, right? And, when the stock's trading at 600, 700 or whatever, I mean, it's tough to pay up, right, when you're up 1,000 and whatever percent on the stock. But when you see some of these numbers, it makes you at least consider maybe it makes sense to buy some more shares and hold them long term. So these are the type of things that make stock market investing hard, is considering, do I put money in this stock, do I add to a position I'm up over 1,000% on? And that's why stock market investing always isn't the easiest, guys. But I love it, man. And I love looking at numbers, and I love kind of thinking about these things and how does this play out. And when you're talking about 5-year out numbers, 10-year out numbers, it's not just about writing down numbers. You really have to formulate these things in your head and be like put all the pieces together. Well, how does this get to here? How did we get, that's what it's really about. Sometimes it's best to just sit in a dark room and just think. Just literally think. Not even look at a computer screen, not even look at anything, and just like focus in and just try to put all these pieces together. And it's something that an introvert like myself loves, right? But, Anyways, guys, let me know your opinion down there in the comment section. I'd love to hear from you guys as always. Let me know if you enjoyed a video like this. We could do more of these in the future. If you don't mind, smash a thumbs up. It lets me know you guys enjoyed a video like this. And we can do more of these in the future, guys. Much love. And, peace. Oh, by the way, just so you know, get in the deal before it ends if you're looking for that, guys. I'll be pinned comment down there. Much love. Peace, guys.